Hola, soy Camila Moreno y los quiero invitar este domingo a Yo no canto por cantar en el Caupolicán. Y también los quiero visitar, a ver si algo les pasa, para que participen en las movilizaciones, hoy día tanto estudiantiles como sociales, que se informen y ojalá que puedan entender que esto tiene que ver con todo, no solamente con algunos. Tiene que ver conmigo, tiene que ver con lo que nos está pasando como seres humanos, como país, como planeta. Así que anímense, empátense, arrójense.
You were one of the organizers who has been there from the first day, one of the people that lit this incredible spark, and we're just all, I think, incredibly grateful to you. But you've been there for a long time now, and you've seen a lot of struggles inside the movement, and you've endured first the ridicule and name calling, as Michael said, and always the threat of police, and now the threat of winter. So if you could give some advice, to other occupations who are maybe starting off a little later, or to students of grassroots movements who will be studying you and your movement, in generations to come, what would you say? What advice would you give about why this has worked so well?
Okay. Well, I think there are many reasons why this has worked. Obviously, we have a great history behind us. Tahrir Square, the Indignados in Spain, these are movements that are, very, very similar to our movement. The way that we are organized, direct democracy, egalitarian values. These are things that we think deserve to be central in every movement, and we think that's a big reason why we have been successful, is that our tactics and our values and our goals, they're all the same. And, obviously this has to do with a break in the way that we view the world. 85% of the class of 2011 moved back in with their parents. That's something that, has never happened before. We have youth who are aware that their future has been stolen. Because that's true. That's true. And we have everyone else who's watching that and who sees that the youth's future has been stolen and believes that their future has been stolen as well. The Tea Party it comes from the same mindset as we do, although we have many differences. Those are people who had legitimate grievances against this system that they had tried to work for their entire lives, and then it ended up screwing them. And that's what's going on with my generation. We have kids who have massive amounts of student debt, and they're going to carry that for the rest of their lives, possibly. Not if we have anything to do with it, but. And so my biggest advice would be to realize that we are a part of something new, but that we come from a long tradition of resistance against this system, resistance against systems of oppression in all forms, because that's what we're really doing. This isn't, in many ways, like you said, this isn't a movement like other movements have been. This isn't a protest. This is a way of making a new space. We have taken Liberty Square, we have renamed it, and we have rebuilt it into something that we believe is a better model. Maybe it's not perfect, maybe it's not what we'll come out of this with, but it's a way to at least start a discussion, a real discussion about all of the things that ail us on a daily basis, the things that are never really discussed. Like you said, before this, the biggest discussion in American politics was whether or not to raise the debt ceiling for the 103rd time. Now we don't talk about things like that. Now we're starting to talk about wealth inequality. We're starting to talk about greed. We've had fun looking at Google Trends and seeing that words like that have gone up, in usage 1,000 times. So, these are things that there's a real shift in terms of the mentality of people. There's a psychic break that's going on that we're riding because of what they did to us. 47% of the wealth is owned by the top 1%. And that number's gone up since the Great Recession, or whatever they want to call it, has begun. Since this new depression has begun, this new global depression that's affecting everyone. And this idea that we're broke, I think that's one of the things that really pisses everyone off. Because we know that's not true. You know, this is the richest country that's ever existed, with the richest people that's ever existed, or that have ever existed, and none of them pay anything. And the idea is that we have to pay for their mistakes, for things that they don't even consider to be mistakes. They think they're winning. And I don't think any of us think that anymore.
So I want to get back later to that question of austerity, right? Because that is one of the things that Occupy Wall Street has really managed to put on the table. And yet